In the early hours of a crisp March morning, the world watched in stunned silence as federal agents descended upon the opulent Beverly Hills mansion of music mogul Sean P. Diddy Combs. What unfolded was not just another high-profile raid, but a seismic event that would send shockwaves through Hollywood and the music industry alike. The FBI operation, meticulously planned and executed with military precision, revealed a side of Diddy's empire few had dared to imagine, let alone confront. As agents stormed the property, their guns drawn and tactical gear gleaming under the California sun, they weren't merely searching for evidence, they were unraveling decades of carefully constructed facades. The raid wasn't confined to Los Angeles. Simultaneously, authorities swept through Diddy's sprawling estate on Star Island in Miami Beach, uncovering firearms, defaced AR-15s, and other incriminating materials. But perhaps the most chilling discovery came from within the walls of his Holly Hills residence: documents, electronic devices, and traces of what prosecutors now describe as a criminal enterprise, rooted in sex trafficking, forced labor, and coercion. For years, whispers of Diddy's infamous freak-off parties circulated in hushed tones among insiders, dismissed by many as urban legends or exaggerated tales of excess. Yet here it was, a labyrinthine web of abuse and exploitation exposed for all to see. What made this moment even more surreal was the presence of Diddy's own family during the raids. His sons Christian, also known as King Combs, and Justin, found themselves at the center of the storm, handcuffed and detained by agents who treated them no differently than any other suspect. Maya Hilton, the mother of two of Diddy's children, later took to Instagram to denounce the overtly militarized force used against her sons, accusing law enforcement of targeting young black men with undue aggression. Her outrage echoed across social media, sparking debates about systemic bias and heavy-handed policing, but it did little to detract from the gravity of the situation unfolding before the public eye. As the dust settled and initial reports trickled out, one thing became abundantly clear: this was far more than a routine investigation. It was the beginning of an unraveling, a reckoning that threatened to dismantle not only Diddy's carefully curated image, but also the legacy of a man who once ruled the entertainment world with an iron fist. With each new detail unearthed, the question loomed larger: how deep did these allegations go? And could anyone close to Diddy truly escape unscathed? Amidst the chaos of the raid, a pivotal moment emerged when Diddy's son Christian Combs voluntarily turned himself in to federal authorities. This decision, shrouded in intrigue, raises profound questions about the motivations driving such a bold move. Was this act born out of genuine remorse, a calculated bid for redemption, or simply a desperate attempt to mitigate the fallout from his father's mounting legal trouble? The complexity of Christian's choice is further compounded by the broader context of living under the relentless glare of public scrutiny, a life where every misstep is magnified and dissected by millions. To understand the weight of this decision, one must consider the psychological toll exacted by growing up in the shadow of a towering figure like Diddy. From a young age, Christian has navigated a dual existence, basking in the privileges afforded by his surname while grappling with the expectations and pressures that come with it. In interviews, he has spoken candidly about the burden of carrying a big legacy to fill, acknowledging both the advantages and challenges inherent in being a nepo baby, a term often derided in contemporary discourse. Yet beneath the surface bravado lies a vulnerability seldom acknowledged in public narratives. The constant pressure to prove oneself amidst whispers of nepotism can erode even the strongest resolve, leaving individuals like Christian caught between honoring familial ties and forging their own path. The raid itself likely served as a breaking point, a stark reminder of the fragility of power and the precariousness of his position. Imagine waking up to armed agents storming your home, seizing belongings, and detaining loved ones. Such an experience would shake anyone to their core, forcing them to confront uncomfortable truths about their circumstances. For Christian, this may have been the catalyst for introspection, prompting him to reassess his role in the unfolding drama. Turning himself in could signify a desire to take control of the narrative, to step out of his father's shadow and assert agency over his fate, even if it means facing potential consequences head-on. Moreover, the timing of his surrender adds another layer of complexity. With his father embroiled in serious legal battles, including charges of racketeering, sex trafficking, and forced labor, The stakes couldn't be higher. By presenting himself to authorities, Christian might be signaling a willingness to cooperate, possibly in exchange for leniency or protection. Alternatively, this move could reflect a strategic calculation aimed at distancing himself from the allegations swirling around Diddy's empire. Either way, it underscores the immense pressure faced by those entangled in high-profile scandals, where loyalty and self-preservation often collide in unpredictable ways. Ultimately, Christian's decision reveals the intricate dance between personal accountability and familial obligation. Whether driven by guilt, fear, or a genuine desire for redemption, his actions speak volumes about the human cost of navigating such treacherous waters. As the investigation progresses, the true motivations behind his surrender will undoubtedly come to light, shedding further insight into the complex dynamics at play within the Combs family dynasty. In the days following the dramatic raid on Diddy's properties, the spotlight intensified on his son Christian Combs, whose voluntary surrender to federal authorities marked a significant turning point in the unfolding saga. Prosecutors wasted no time leveraging this development, swiftly filing additional charges against Christian that sent shockwaves through both the legal community and the general public. Among the most damning allegations was a lawsuit accusing Christian of sexual assault aboard a luxury yacht during a New Year's Eve party in late 20. According to court documents, the victim, a woman working at the event, claims she endured relentless advances from Christian despite repeatedly rejecting his advances. She alleges that he groped her, attempted to kiss her, and eventually cornered her in a theater room aboard the yacht, insisting she perform oral sex on him. Audio recordings purportedly capturing the encounter form the backbone of her case, with transcripts revealing her desperate attempts to fend off his advances. Beyond the yacht incident, investigators have linked Christian to a series of troubling behaviors that suggest a pattern of misconduct. Anonymous brokers have accused him of misleading rental companies, promising small gatherings only to throw extravagant parties that left properties in disarray. One broker recounted an instance where Christian assured them of hosting 20 people only for nearly 200 guests to show up, wreaking havoc on the venue. These accounts paint a picture of reckless entitlement, raising questions about whether Christian viewed rules and boundaries as mere suggestions rather than obligations. The implications of these charges extend far beyond Christian himself, casting a long shadow over Diddy's entire empire. Legal experts note that prosecuting the son of a high-profile figure like Diddy presents unique challenges, particularly given the extensive resources at their disposal. Defense attorneys are likely to argue that the allegations lack corroboration or stem from misunderstandings exacerbated by alcohol-fueled environments. However, the sheer volume of evidence from audio recordings to witness testimonies poses a formidable hurdle for any defense strategy. For Diddy, the ramifications are equally dire. Having built a career on projecting an image of invincibility and control, the sight of his son ensnared in legal troubles threatens to undermine everything he has worked for. Sources close to the family suggest that Diddy views Christian's predicament as a direct attack on his legacy, fueling his determination to fight the charges tooth and nail. Yet this stance risks backfiring, as aggressive legal maneuvers could further alienate public sympathy and invite increased scrutiny into the inner workings of his empire. Perhaps most concerning is the ripple effect these developments have on Diddy's ongoing criminal trial. With prosecutors already alleging a decades-long pattern of abuse and exploitation, the inclusion of Christian's alleged misconduct serves to bolster their narrative of a toxic environment perpetuated by the Combs family. Each new charge adds another layer of complexity to an already convoluted case, increasing the likelihood of a protracted legal battle that could stretch on for years. As the trial date approaches, the pressure mounts, not just on Diddy and his son but on everyone connected to their orbit. Allies may distance themselves, fearing collateral damage, while enemies seize the opportunity to settle old scores. In this volatile landscape, the line between ally and adversary blurs, leaving no one untouched by the cascading consequences of Diddy's fall from grace. The raid on Diddy's properties and the subsequent charges against his son Christian have ignited widespread debate about the intersection of race, privilege and justice in America. Critics argue that the treatment of Diddy's family during the raids reflects broader systemic issues within law enforcement, particularly regarding the disproportionate use of force against black individuals. Misa Hilton, the mother of two of Diddy's sons, voiced her outrage in a scathing Instagram post, accusing federal agents of employing overzealous and overtly militarized tactics that she claims would never be directed at the children of non-black celebrities. Her comments struck a chord with many who see parallels between this incident and countless others where unarmed black men have faced lethal outcomes during similar encounters. Supporters of the FBI's approach counter that the scale and seriousness of the investigation necessitated such measures. They point to the size and complexity of Diddy's estates, which required a coordinated effort to secure the premises and ensure the safety of all involved. Agents reportedly encountered multiple individuals on site, some of whom may have posed unknown risks. From this perspective, the deployment of tactical teams and the temporary detention of occupants align with standard protocols for executing high-stakes search warrants. Furthermore, defenders emphasize that the legal system operates independently of celebrity status, arguing that the same standards applied to Diddy and his family would apply to anyone suspected of grave offenses. Yet the optics of the situation remain undeniably fraught. Images of Christian and Justin Combs in handcuffs circulated widely, drawing comparisons to viral videos of police brutality that have galvanized movements like Black Lives Matter. The contrast between these visuals and the relative leniency often afforded to white defendants in comparable situations fuels perceptions of racial bias. Even prior to the raids, Diddy's legal woes had sparked discussions about whether his wealth and influence shielded him from accountability for years, allowing alleged abuses to continue unchecked. Now, as the full weight of the law bears down on him and his family, critics contend that the pendulum has swung too far in the opposite direction, subjecting them to punitive measures that seem excessive and vindictive. This tension highlights the delicate balance authorities must strike when dealing with cases involving prominent figures. On one hand, there is a legitimate need to address serious allegations without regard for the defendant's stature. On the other hand, the manner in which investigations unfold can either reinforce trust in the justice system or deepen existing grievances. The challenge lies in ensuring that procedures are transparent, proportionate, and free from implicit biases that undermine fairness. For Diddy and his family, the stakes are immeasurably high. Their response to these allegations and the public's perception of that response will shape not only their individual fates, but also broader conversations about equity and justice, in an era defined by heightened awareness of systemic inequities. As the investigation into Diddy's alleged criminal enterprise unfolds, the focus shifts toward understanding the broader implications for his family, particularly his son Christian, who finds himself increasingly entangled in the legal quagmire. The recent charges filed against Christian, including accusations of sexual assault and reckless endangerment, threaten to derail his burgeoning career and tarnish the Combs family name. Industry insiders speculate that these developments could signal the end of an era for the bad boy entertainment dynasty, once synonymous with innovation and success in the music world. If convicted, Christian faces not only potential imprisonment, but also irreparable damage to his reputation, effectively severing ties with the lucrative deals and opportunities that once seemed inevitable for the heir apparent. However, the fallout extends beyond immediate legal repercussion. The very foundation of the Combs family's empire rests on a carefully constructed image of unity, resilience, and triumph over adversity. With each new allegation, cracks begin to form in this facade, exposing vulnerabilities that could destabilize the entire structure. Family members, friends, and business associates must now grapple with difficult decisions. Should they stand by Diddy and Christian, risking association with scandal, or distance themselves to protect their own interests? Early signs indicate a divide, with some longtime collaborators quietly stepping away while others rally behind the embattled mogul. Perhaps most poignantly, the case underscores the cyclical nature of power and privilege. Diddy rose to prominence by mastering the art of reinvention, transforming setbacks into stepping stones, and leveraging controversy to maintain relevance. Yet, the same mechanisms that propelled him to greatness now work against him, amplifying every misstep and magnifying the consequences of past transgressions. For Christian, the path forward remains uncertain. Will he follow in his father's footsteps, attempting to rebuild amidst ruin, or forge a new identity untethered from the shadows of scandal? Regardless of the outcome, one truth stands undeniable: the events unfolding today will redefine not only the Combs family legacy, but also the cultural landscape they helped shape. In the wake of the explosive revelations surrounding Diddy and his son Christian, the entertainment industry finds itself at a crossroads. grappling with profound questions about accountability, integrity, and the future of its institutions. The sheer magnitude of the allegations, ranging from sex trafficking and forced labor to reckless endangerment and sexual assault, has shattered the illusion of invincibility that once shielded powerful figures like Diddy. No longer can the industry afford to turn a blind eye to patterns of abuse and exploitation, nor can it dismiss these incidents as isolated anomalies. Instead, this moment demands a reckoning, a collective acknowledgement of the systemic failures that allowed such egregious misconduct to persist unchecked for decades. One of the most pressing issues emerging from this scandal is the urgent need for reform within the mechanisms of oversight and regulation. For too long, the entertainment world has operated under a veil of secrecy, where confidentiality agreements and non-disclosure clauses silenced victims and shielded perpetrators. The courage displayed by survivors coming forward, often at great personal cost, underscores the necessity of creating safer spaces for reporting abuse and holding wrongdoers accountable. Industry leaders must prioritize implementing robust safeguards, including independent review boards, whistleblower protections, and transparent grievance processes, to prevent future atrocities and restore faith in the system. Moreover, the fallout from Diddy's case highlights the corrosive impact of unchecked power on creativity and collaboration. When fear and intimidation dictate professional relationships, the result is a culture stifled by conformity and devoid of authentic expression. Artists, producers, and executives alike must commit to fostering environments that value mutual respect, consent, and ethical conduct above all else. This shift requires not only policy changes, but also a fundamental re-evaluation of values and priorities, a recognition that true success cannot be measured solely by box office numbers or chart positions, but must encompass the well-being and dignity of all participants. On a broader societal level, the Diddy saga serves as a microcosm of larger struggles for justice and equality. It exposes the intersections of race, class, and gender that complicate perceptions of culpability and punishment, challenging us to confront uncomfortable truths about privilege and prejudice. As the legal proceedings unfold, they offer an opportunity to reflect on how we define accountability and redemption in an age of heightened awareness and activism. Will the outcome represent a meaningful step toward dismantling oppressive structures, or will it reinforce existing hierarchies and perpetuate cycles of harm? Ultimately, the legacy of this tumultuous chapter will depend not on the verdicts rendered in courtrooms, but on the actions taken in their aftermath. The entertainment industry, and society at large, stands at a pivotal juncture, tasked with choosing between complacency and transformation. By embracing transparency, empathy, and accountability, stakeholders can pave the way for a future where talent thrives without compromise, where dreams are realized without sacrifice, and where the pursuit of excellence aligns with the principles of humanity and decency. In doing so, they honor not only the voices silenced by abuse, but also the aspirations of generations yet to come. The saga surrounding Diddy and his son Christian represents far more than a tabloid spectacle. It embodies the collision of personal ambition, systemic corruption, and societal expectations in modern entertainment. At its core, this unfolding drama forces us to confront uncomfortable truths about the price of fame and the mechanisms that sustain it. Diddy's meteoric rise to power was fueled by brilliance, charisma, and an unparalleled ability to navigate the complexities of the music industry. Yet, beneath the glittering veneer of success lay a darker reality, one marked by manipulation, coercion, and exploitation. The allegations against him and his family expose the insidious ways in which unchecked authority can distort human relationships, reducing individuals to commodities in service of a grander vision.